Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the webinar for Women Entrepreneurship hosted by Women's Federation for World Peace International. My name is Merly Barlan. I'm the International Vice President for Asia, and it's my great pleasure to be your moderator for this webinar. We are very happy to welcome all of you. Thank you so much for taking the time from your busy schedule to join us. Our sincere appreciation for our panelists for investing your time and talent for this webinar. We are honored and blessed to be graced by the presence of these outstanding women leaders and trailblazers in the field of entrepreneurship. We hope that their extraordinary leadership, models, and amazing success stories can inspire and empower everyone here. Before we officially start, I'd like to give you a bit of background about WFWPI. Women's Federation for World Peace International was founded in 1992. We are an NGO in general consultative status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC, and is active in more than 120 countries throughout the world. WFWP webinar series with the name WFWP Perspective was just launched this year. While each nation is currently facing challenging situations and difficult decisions due to COVID-19, WFWPI looks for hope to empower women and families and initiated various webinars to share the experiences and ideas to resolve those difficulties. Now, to start our webinar, first, let us have a special entertainment to warm our hearts, and let us hear from Miss Florin Rose Vergara. Miss Vergara is a well-known singer from Bohol, Philippines, and a good friend of Women's Federation for World Peace. She is a grand champion and winner at the Sandugo Song Festival in 2014. She regularly performs in national events in the Philippines. Recently, she is working as a voice instructor at Einstein Center for Modern Education and a choir member at Chill Pitch and Rhapsodia Vocal Ensemble. Miss Vergara will perform two songs for us today. One is Imagine by John Lennon, and the second one entitled I Was Here by Beyonce. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Miss Florin Rose Vergara. Please enjoy.
I wanna leave my footprints on the sand of time. No, there is something that I left behind. When I leave this world, I live no regrets. Leave something to remember, so they won't forget I was young. above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Ooh, imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Oh, imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. No, no, no. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
Wow, that was so beautiful. Thank you so much, Miss Florin, for that beautiful, powerful performance. Beautiful. At this time, we want to give our panelists an opportunity to share to us their ideas of leadership paradigms and success stories in the field of women entrepreneurship. Self-employment has been blossoming over the past decade. WFWP would like to introduce 4 women entrepreneurs worldwide who evaluated their ideas for successful business. Panelists will present their best practices, successes, and the decision-making processes that have contributed to effectively tackling the enormous crisis in their diverse areas of responsibilities. Our first speaker is Ms. Dalarich Polot. Ms. Polot is a multi-awarded young entrepreneur, the co-founder and CEO of a social enterprise called Ginto Fine Chocolates Corporation, who makes artisan bean-to-bar chocolates and the manager of Dollar Rich Food Products in Bohol, Philippines. She is dubbed by the media in the Philippines as Bohol's Chocolate Princess. Dear friends and colleagues, let us welcome Miss Dalarich Polo.
up making tablea. So since my lola started making tablea, we already sell the tablea to our neighborhood, making also with the dilis. And then si mama yung get the recipe from my nanay, and then also I'm helping my mama to make tablea. What inspired me to innovate from tablea to chocolate because of the farmers, because they really work hard for their farm, and also they need to see the value of what they planted. That's why I got also a lot of sales for the chocolate, not only locally but to also export market. So from that, I can also give them more income and also inspire them, other farmers, to plant more cacao.
Pag-abot ni Dala, na-realize na mo nga na-aday may gold sa among backyard. Kay kining mga cacao, ginahimo og artisan chocolates para sa world market. So kami mga farmers, nalipay gyud maayo kay dako makayo og tabang si Dala, kay dako man ang iyang palit sa among mga produkto.
In Bohol, cacao tree is just normal at the back of each household. So we don't value that much because we just get the cacao and make tablea out of it for personal consumption. Really, every tourist asks like, where's the chocolate in the chocolate hills? So actually, there's a chocolate around the chocolate hills. There's cacao trees around the chocolate hills. So that's our dream, to be known really in as Bohol, with the world's finest chocolate. Last year, we exhibited in Salon de Chocolat Paris. That's the world's largest chocolate show. So we're able to sell the tablea and the chocolate there. So when I went home, I was telling the farmers, all the chocolates were sold out, and it's not my chocolate, it's their chocolate. Another dream is to really build a bigger factory. So last September 8, 2017, we built this bigger production and bigger also display where people can see how our chocolates were made, and also they can buy the products. Our mission is to produce the highest quality chocolate so that Bohol will not only be known for chocolate hills but also home of the world's finest chocolate. Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening in the Philippines. My name is Dalarich Polot. I'm actually speaking all the way from the island of the Chocolate Hills, Bohol, the Philippines. I want to start my presentation with these pictures. Hold on, I want to share my screen first. I want to show you different pictures of women. This woman is a farmer. This woman is actually a housekeeper. This woman is actually a nanny, and this one is a street sweeper. My question is, do you think these rural women can actually make an impact to her family and communities? Maybe one of you will say yes, maybe one of you will say no. But you know, as a young generation, I would really say yes. Because actually, that's because of one person who inspired me so much. And that's why I am here today. It's actually my mom. My mom, I want to start with sharing their story, how we really started our business. My mom, who is just an ordinary woman here in the Philippines, she wasn't able to go to college, but she was able to raise and send us all to college, 7 of us, who started this very small business in the 3 kilos of cacao, and that's the picture of the tablea, which is unsweetened chocolate for drinking chocolate in the Philippines. And she wanted to help her husband to send all of her children to college. And because of that big family, 5 kilos of cacao, and she was able to send us all to college. And She's a street sweeper before, and my dad is actually a tricycle driver. And the second generation were able to actually innovate of the products that we wanted to have. And this is the innovation. Actually, my dream is to really help people. But helping people is actually, that's my dream when I was bit, but I cannot do that because we're poor. And everything just falling into place when I decided to also innovate our products and open a chocolate house and help the farmers, especially women farmers in the Philippines. And this is the example of a woman actually working in the farm, 73-year-old, who really inspired me so much. I launched another social enterprise, Ginto Chocolate, which is also rehabilitating all the old cacao in the Philippines. And you can get a chocolate bar after rehabilitating that cacao who planted by the past generation. As of 2020, we're able to help 790 families in 16 towns and 3,155 cacao trees. And yeah, finally, like my mom and dad wasn't able to go to abroad. Like last year, we got an award for that chocolate that she really started. And we were able to go to London. For the first time, my mom were able to ride an airplane. That pandemic didn't stop us. We were able to help also people here in the province, especially those people who were losing their jobs. And we're able to do programs, community programs here. And that woman who is really very ordinary, and that was my mom, who also support women entrepreneurs here in the province, in the whole Philippines already. I'm sharing you this because I really wanted to inspire that women are special. Women can make a change. Women are leaders, and you can start something without even anything. You have the resources, but it's good for you to have. But those women who are not fortunate enough, we can still do something about that. Because women are leaders, women are very supportive, especially women have those loving, really, we have that in our hearts. We can do so many things. We can help be a model to our children. We are very hardworking because that is something that we can help. And yes, I want to end this presentation by saying that each of you can change the world through entrepreneurship by just supporting each other, and women can support each other. Thank you so much, and hope we're able to inspire you. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you so much, Miss Dalarich Pollock. That was a deeply inspirational, powerful, and sweet presentation. Thank you. We're very proud of you. I just want to make an announcement. We will have the Q&A session after the presentation of all the panelists. Please send all your questions and comments on the Q&A chat box. Okay, thank you. Now our next speaker is Miss Winnie Chow. Ms. Winnie Chow is the CEO of Conmon Educational Ltd. And the owner of Conwen Shui Ni Kindergarten. She is the chairwoman of the Global Entrepreneurs Peace Alliance and an honored friend and great supporter of WFWP Taiwan as the vice president. Ms. Chow, the floor is yours.
Greetings from Taiwan. Hi, I am Winnie, and I'm glad that we're able to connect via this webinar. Okay, let me start. Our potential abilities are beyond our imaginations. However, it is our imaginations which often restrict our potential abilities. My roles and responsibilities. I'm the only child in the family, and I'm a mother of 5 kids. I'm a business owner, I'm a philanthropist, and an author. So I juggle many balls every day, and I ask myself, what is my role? And what are my values? What do I believe in? And what do I do? Why do I do what I do? In this presentation, I would like to focus on sharing what we have done during this pandemic period for our Kumon students in our centers in Taiwan. The Kumon method of learning was born from one father's love for his son in 1954. Reaching high-level materials through self-learning is the goal of the learning method. Kumon is an after-school enrichment program, and there are two core programs, namely Kumon Math and Kumon Language Program. And as of December 2019, there were over 4.3 million enrollments in 57 countries. My family has been the executive agent promoting Kumon method in Taiwan since 1978. I was the first Kumon student in Taiwan, and now I have become the second generation promoter and a very dedicated advocate for this proven learning program. During Chinese New Year, we found out that there's an outbreak of COVID-19, and we very immediately set up an emergency response team. And that team was responsible to collect and share information and news on the outbreak of the COVID-19. We contacted our vendors for supplies immediately. We create precaution measures which needed to be implemented. We confirm our communication channels with all our instructors, our staff, and parents to ensure good information flow and to make sure everyone understood why and how. We also identify strategies and action plans. From my personal experience, I understood how fearful one could be facing the unknown. I was pregnant with my first child, Sabrina, in 2003, when there was an outbreak of SARS. So I remembered I was so worried for the health of myself and my baby. So one could easily lose focus when faced with the unknown and threats. So the ultimate goal was to make sure students would continue their studies with Kumon. So our first and utmost priority was to calm the minds and calm the hearts of our employees and instructors. Before anyone could deliver the service or take actions, one has to feel and know that they are safe and protected. The next step was to make sure that all Kumon centers were clean and safe for students to go to. We reinforced strict enforcement of collecting all health declaration forms. We reduced the number of students in every class. We make sure the seating arrangements were done properly, so we had the proper social distancing and also communication with parents. We needed to make sure parents knew all these actions that we took and why we have those rules and regulations in place. So open and frequent communication between the parents, instructors, and the company were crucial to making sure that we work together to support the students to continue their studies with the program and to continue to progress during this period. There were also risk management actions that we took. For instance, setting up 3 other distribution centers in 3 different cities, preparing students' materials just in case there was a shutdown, confirmation of networking and flows. So communication. We needed to make sure thorough communication was between staff, instructors, and parents were in place. And that allowed us to make sure that we work together. In the months of June and July, I visited 107 Kumon centers and spent time with each instructors. 95% of our instructors are female, and all instructors appreciated my visit. I was very touched with all their stories regarding how they see the changes in the students, how those students are still very dedicated studying through this period, and they are trying their best to help each child to make sure during this unsure period and everyone worrying about the pandemic, the situation, but not affecting their studies. So I'm actually very grateful to my coworkers and instructors that we are all working together and parents are following the rules. So caring about education, we should learn from each crisis. This pandemic has deepened and further strengthened my belief in family education and the value of personalized learning program. We need to make sure that students have secured solid foundations, develop good learning habits, and enabling them to apply self-learning abilities while studying beyond their own grade level. Children's learning cannot be delayed, and we must ensure that we pay attention to their well-being and their education. They are our future, and we need to make sure they are fostered to become self-learners, and through the learning journey, they are able to gain confidence, become persistent, and have enough endurance and perseverance to face any future challenges. We need to build on their solid foundation to develop good concentration span, positive learning attitude, and become self-motivatable. At Kumon, we support and guide them to develop the essential survival skills in order to thrive and contribute to the society and the world. We are family. We need to take care of each other and give each other our best support. I believe everyone has their own value in the society, and we should acknowledge our own strength and abilities. We need to identify our roles and be clear of what they are. When it is time for us to lead, do so with confidence. By giving other people hope, we are able to gather our resources and unite everyone. We're able to walk the path together and to work towards a brighter future. We do everything with the hope that our next generation will benefit from it. Invest in education. Education builds great nations and a peaceful world. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Ms. Chow, for your very helpful and hopeful presentation. Kudos to your hard work. Thank you. Our third speaker is Ms. Dina Bennett. Ms. Bennett is the founder and director of International Consultants for Entrepreneurship and Enterprise, and the global lead for enterprise development. She works at both policy and practice levels internationally. She is a firm believer that social capital is the key to personal and professional development. She works in partnership with agencies such as the United Nations, EBRD, International Labour Organization, and the British Council. Currently, she is co-chair of Task Force 7 and of Task Force 7 of the Think 20, T20, the Research and Policy Network to the G20 under the Japanese and the Saudi presidency. Ms. Bennett was awarded a Queen's Award for Enterprise Promotion in 2005 and an OBE for service to women's entrepreneurship in 2011. She was made an honorary fellow of the UK Institute of Enterprise and Entrepreneurs in 2016. Let us welcome Ms. Dina Bennett.
Melly, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. It really is such an honor to be here today. So thank you so much for inviting me. As Melly said, I run my own business, and my business is very much around helping other small businesses, but also helping those who support them, including policymakers and business support providers. I'm often asked, why should we focus on women when we talk about small business and entrepreneurship? And I'm glad I'm asked that question because it's really important. It's such an economic imperative. The world is waking up to the fact that small is beautiful and that small businesses add so much to the economy. But actually getting more and more women involved in small business and entrepreneurship is critical for long-term economic growth. Wherever I work in the world, we see that women are greatly underrepresented in so many spheres, but also in setting up and running, but also scaling small businesses. But also we need to understand that women are not the same as men when they're thinking of setting up businesses and running them. They have different experiences. All the research that's been done over many, many years have shown that women have different motivation, they have less resources, and the incubation period from having an inkling of an idea to start a business to fully starting that business does take longer, because women have so many other responsibilities at times that they need to focus on, and they can't devote that to their business. Why women? Again, we see that women's business productivity is often hampered the world over by legislation, regulations, and other administrative barriers. I do a lot of work helping governments look at gender-sensitive policy reform, because policy is often made through the lens of men with little understanding, A, of small businesses, but B, of women running small businesses. And one of the key issues that we always try and call for is disaggregated data. If we're not setting targets, we're not measuring it, but when we don't have the correct data, looking at both men and women, we are not going to solve these problems at all. What are the barriers? Well, we see these 4 key barriers the world over, and then we see 1 or 2 or 3 contextual ones depending on where we are working. Access to finance, always an issue. Women have a fragmented credit history, often being out of work or not generating income because they are having children. Care and domestic responsibilities. It's not just childcare, it's elder care now. And we are seeing many days lost to the economy and focusing on business because women are bearing that burden of care and domestic responsibilities. Often women have lack of training in business skills because they've not been on any database to actually be given that information or be informed of what training is actually available to them. But I think some of the most dangerous barriers are these perceptual barriers of credibility. Because we have so few role models sometimes in different sectors, people think, oh, you're a woman, you can't possibly be doing that, particularly in this sector of technology, for example. But also sometimes women do feel without those role models, if they can't do it, how on earth can I? And therefore, the development of role models is extremely important. For 40, 50 years, this framework developed by Gibb and Ritchie talk about various success ingredients for starting a small business. And these ingredients come in different quantities when a woman or a man indeed is thinking of starting a business. We need the motivation, and we talk about these push or pull factors. Sometimes women have no choice but to actually set up something to generate income because they have no other income available. Sometimes there are women that say, I just don't want to work for anybody else. Or it could be a woman with a disability that has to do something for herself because she couldn't work in a mainstream organisation. What sort of skills and abilities do people have? What resources are available? And it's not just resources in terms of finance, it could be people, it could be stock. But I think most importantly is the idea they have in relation to the market. Who else is doing what they're doing? What is the competition doing? So 4 ingredients for success. We work with many, many women and men around the world to see what they have in order to start, because so much money can be lost if you actually start with the lack of these ingredients. I think it's really important when we talk about business support for women that we recognise that women are not a homogeneous group. This diagram I use quite a lot. This person is saying to these animals, to ensure a fair selection, you all get the same test. You must all climb that tree. But we know that's not going to work. So we must recognise the heterogeneity of women who are thinking of starting and growing businesses. We have rural women, urban women, educated women, women that aren't educated and need to be taught in the vernacular, women with disabilities, women who have a whole host of different issues, women with children, women without children. So this has to be taken into account when we are developing policy, but also business support for women. We are not all the same, and we've already heard from two amazing women on this panel who are quite different but doing quite amazing things. Finally, I'd like to share something with you. It's an award-winning example called Women into the Network that I set up in the UK over 20 years ago. It became the UK Best Practice Initiative for supporting women and helping them start and grow businesses, recognising this whole area of women being so different. So of course, we ran a whole range of different events, but recognising that not all women felt comfortable in a 5-star hotel. And when we run these things around the world, sometimes we'd be working under trees, working in community centres, working in different halls, and not only in hotels. We have a whole range of communications and publications, but also recognising that some women do not have access to a smartphone and don't have access to a computer. So we would send messages home via school children to their mothers, who maybe were thinking, I don't know what to do next, but I'd like to think about generating income. Role models, as I mentioned earlier, incredibly important. So we developed hundreds and thousands of different role models of women from different backgrounds, women setting up business in different sectors, demonstrating that there's no one route into starting up a business. And sometimes if you have a role model that's too big, a woman can look at that woman and think, oh my goodness, she is so successful. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to aspire for that. So we promote women at different levels of their journey as well, and from business backgrounds. I've already mentioned segmentation, but also sectoral initiatives. Women have different needs, whether they're in the care sector, the tech sector, or the hospitality sector, for example. So we actually run very focused initiatives focusing on lots of different sectors. Research is very, very important. I've already mentioned gender disaggregated data. Everything we did, we wrote up. Everything we did, we measured. We talked about the challenges. We talked about the successes that women have. But we also talked about the failures, because I think sometimes when we talk about entrepreneurship, it's very important to recognise that entrepreneurs learn from their failure as well as success. And failing isn't always a bad thing, as long as it's not too painful. We recognised that there were so many other initiatives going on in the UK, going on internationally, that we would actually signpost women to all the other events that were appropriate to their needs, either sectorally or geographically. We also ran a whole series of mentoring programs, which is very important. And I'm currently running one with Libyan women. Mentoring is incredibly important because it really helps women to give them a sounding board by other women, and sometimes other men as well, who have gone along that journey before them, to help them sort of talk through some of the issues that they're facing. I'm hearing quite a lot now, and I think it's quite important. It's not just about mentoring, it's also about the term sponsorship. And research has shown that if you have had a mentor who's also sponsored you, and I don't mean give money to, but literally take you by the hand and introduce you and say, this is the woman that I'm working with, and I think you might be able to help. And finally, dissemination of everything that we do in terms of learning. I would like to say to you, there are so many people that I say could be naysayers. Oh, you can't do this. And we've talked about this barrier of perception of credibility. And I will say to all of you women who are listening to this, who think you'd like to start a business, good self-talk is to say, I can, and of course you can, and I wish you every success. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to any questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bennett, for your educational and empowering presentation. Those are really important and valuable support materials for small business owners. Now, I have a friendly reminder that we will have our Q&A session after all the panelists. have given their presentation. Please send all your questions and comments on the Q&A chat box at the bottom of your screen. Now, I'd like to present to you our last but not the least speaker, Ms. Audra Haj. Ms. Audra Haj is the CEO of Angel Investors Network. AIN has been the facilitator in launching and reconstructing over 10,000 companies since 1997. She raised over 380 million for their clients and taken 71 companies public with her team in 3 locations domestically and 4 abroad. AIN builds better businesses for investors to invest in by utilizing systems, automation, and proven methodologies to launch, build, and scale companies. She is a sought-after speaker, leading economic change through systematization, technology for implementation, and accountability. Let us welcome Ms. Audra Haj.
Wow. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. For me, I'm in the United States, so it is, let's see, it is about 5:30 in the morning here. I am just honored, absolutely honored to be part of such an amazing panel. People who are just doing things beyond what most can imagine. But I truly can imagine this for each and every one of them. And what I like to do is say thank you very much to all of the panelists, or what I like to call boss babes. So what I would like to do is I would like to, before we go into entrepreneurship and the future of what all of us could be if we choose to be, I'd like to actually go back in time. I'd like to introduce you to a freckly, awkward, carrot top redhead. You know the one everybody made fun of? That's me. I don't know if you guys were that in school, but that was definitely me. On top of all of that, I also was the new kid in school all the time. The reason for that is I actually went to 32 foster homes by the time I was 10. And I very much struggled with this feeling of just being invisible. How many of you have felt that you were invisible? And maybe some of you are feeling that right now. And we have the opportunity to stand up and have our voices heard. But the reality is, in my situation, no matter how good I was, how perfect I was, they just didn't want me. It was just heartbreaking until I turned 18. And when I turned 18, my parents received a letter in the mail from the state asking, would Audra like to sue the state? Because it turned out that she was being used as a foster test. If the family was fantastic, I left and they got another child. If the family was terrible, thank goodness, I left and they were removed from the system. But imagine how I felt that every single time that I went into these homes, I was absolutely trying to be the perfect child. But I hope that there's a lesson that we can all learn from this. And that is, at times, no matter how right and no matter how perfect you are, there are circumstances that you're not aware of. Maybe some of you are dealing with that right now. So what I would like to do is I would like to share the fact that my past enabled me to choose who I am. Listen to that word, choose. Yes, no matter how awful my past was, it was a blessing. No matter what you've struggled with in the past, you have a choice. So who am I today? Well, I am the CEO of Angel Investors Network. I created my path of impact from my life experiences, which was to create legacies and businesses for others. I became the ambassador of change, as you can imagine, going through all those different homes and cultures and getting to know everybody again and again. I have over 300 employees, offices globally, 3 in the United States, 4 abroad, and I am the proud mother of 2 amazing boys. My definition of freedom, grab a paper, please. My definition of freedom, I am 100% accountable for all of my decisions. I don't blame my past, where I grew up, my family, my school, the opportunities I did or didn't have. I am here and I have the courage to make decisions with the information in front of me. My opinion, the only bad decision is no decision. So if the outcome wasn't as I expected, then I look at the new data and I make the next right decision based on that information. I have to ask you guys a question. Do you believe in energy? Come on. Okay. Think about it this way. Have you ever walked into a room and you didn't hear an argument, but you felt that there was something there? The biggest lesson taught by one of my grandmothers in my home was, if you want to live the absolute happiest life possible, make 3 random people smile before you go back to your home. Well, 3 became 12, became 24, became every single person I encountered. The energy around me is something people comment to me about all the time. You can control your circle and your energy. Even in a world that looks like this, a world that is just, what is going on? Social distancing, politics, homeschooling, the list goes on and on and on. But we can, through entrepreneurship, reboot our economy and stabilize our households. You know, I love what Tony Robbins said, and he said, every problem is a gift. Without problems, we would not grow. So I would like to show you that it is absolutely possible to succeed in hard economic times. Let's start with Heinz. I'm sure you've got something or one of his products in your pantry somewhere. The journey of him is phenomenal. Beating the competition, that came from the fact that people were creating products that look like his in the same glass bottles. So what did he do? He bought up every single one he could find. He stored it. When he ran out of space, he put it on a barge and he sank it. Something you might not know about Heinz. He actually was the first one to have electricity, and he, not the automotive industry, was the first to have an assembly line. Now, chocolate. We're all women here. Chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. Do you know the story behind him? 4th grade education, failed 3 times. He had 1,400 employees, but this is where I get goosebumps. He actually opened a town and established a recreational park before he even had the recipe for milk chocolate. It's time for you to be an innovator. I need you to understand that you might not have chose entrepreneurship. It chooses you. This is why many people around you will not understand your drive or your purpose. To thrive, you truly need to align your force with your source. Inside of you is a power base that has formed from your life journey. Your purpose is simple: to live the highest, truest expression of yourself. You are absolutely here for a reason. So let's talk about, if you are launching or relaunching a business, what has changed? First of all, the consumer has changed. We went into this a very transactional society and consumer. We are emerging a heart-centric consumer. Service and product offerings have changed. You know, the virtual delivery of goods and services, customers' expectations and experiences are way off the chart. Employee engagement is different. Greater understanding of technology, and we're relying on it more every day. Remote working, well, many of you are probably doing that right now. How is your business positioned, or how are you positioning to take advantage of this opportunity? Get your pen and paper out. Number one, how are you embracing this new digital evolution? Re-message starting with the pain your client has. No offense, they don't care about you or your company yet. They want to know you understand their pain. So talk about the pain, show them how you have the solution, and their instinct's going to be like, wow, how do I get to know this person? How do they know me? Transform how you engage prospects, customers, employees. Develop a digital marketing solution and create new ways to serve your clients. Example, textile companies are creating masks. Restaurants are providing delivery. Now, here's what I'd like to tell all of you boss babes out there. We are wired for this. Come on, everybody knows, even the men in our lives know that we can multitask. So what you need to do is understand that you cannot catch all of the balls. Let go of relationships and patterns in your life that no longer serve you, or let you serve them with the integrity that you want to. Let go of unnecessarily guilt and anxiety and surround yourself with those who see your true purpose and want to help. When they offer help, take it. It is not a weakness. It is the igniter of the force on a day when your flame might be flickering. Now, most importantly, automate and systemize the mundane tasks so your force can be interacting with the world. If I was behind my computer, I wouldn't have this opportunity to spend with you. You are the biggest closer. Your authenticity and power will take your business to the next level. So get out from behind your computer and interact. Next, wouldn't it be great to do this with other people? Easier together than alone. You know, imagine being able to interact with economists worldwide, entrepreneurs, C-suite, thought leaders, like-minded people that have a moral alignment. I had the opportunity to actually be part of this organization in November 11th, back in 2018. It was an experience that changed my life. And right when I thought it couldn't get any better, it did. I continue to realize that what it means to me, this organization, is it's my tribe. Hope, progress, evolution, impact, and just global alignment. Then I was able to actually go to Korea. And in 2020, this year, I got to launch the IAED, the International Association of Economic Development. Guys, I need you to hear me about this organization. Korea was life-changing for my husband and I. The freedom to speak values and business with like-minded individuals worldwide. Media, politics, religion, and business all in one conference. The ability to work together globally, the energy was intoxicating. The true power of unity is here in this organization. As a final thought, I would like to leave you with something. The best advice that I have ever heard a mother give a daughter. How many of you guys have seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding? Okay, my favorite scene, and as many of us have been told, the man is the head of the household. She goes on to tell her daughter that this is absolutely true. But remember this, the woman is the neck, and she can turn the head any way she wants to. Ladies, be the neck. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Miss Hodge. That was amazing. That's truly empowering and confidence boosting of your story of business and leadership. Actually, all those panelist presentations, those are essential tools we need as NGOs and in managing our livelihood projects. It's not just for business women, but for our livelihood projects. Thank you so much. Such valuable and inspirational ideas and strategies you have shared to us today. You have imparted very important contributions in educating and empowering the women worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give our distinguished panelists Another big round of applause. Thank you. Kudos to you all. At this point, finally, we will have our Q&A session. Thank you for sending all those questions. Lots of questions coming in. And unfortunately, we will only be able to read maybe 4 or 5. Hopefully we get more. We can accommodate more questions. And kind reminder to our panelists, due to the time limitation, please limit your answer to 2 minutes to give a chance for other panelists to answer questions. Okay, the first question goes to for Miss Dalarich Polot. Okay. Okay, it's from Miss Alisa Abigail Gabor from Philippines. Hello, Miss Delarich. How are you able to operate your chocolate business even in the midst of this pandemic? I was inspired by your journey, by the way. God bless.
Yeah. Hello, Miss Eliza. Thank you for that question. Actually, I want to share you this, like this pandemic time, everyone is really struggling. But I think the best thing that you can really go into is to really ask your why. Why are you doing this? When we had that struggle, when the lockdown started, actually my parents and my family started to do what we can do. But instead of like looking into what we can do and improve our business, we actually wanted to help people who lose their jobs and our employees as well. But you know what we do? We focus on the digital, and mostly people really are actually like they're doing that on the offline, but we're doing that on the digital world. So everything is free here in the world right now because we're in the new normal. So we just need to go out there and we use the resources that we have online. Thank you. Hope I was able to answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, the next question is for Miss Winnie Chow. The question is from Ghana, Africa, from Martha White, WFWP President of Ghana, Africa. How can we get in touch with your institution? I get started a school and I would like to know more about this method of learning. Winnie?
Okay, thank you for your question. If you can leave your contact information with the organizer, maybe I can get back to you. Kuma method has been introduced to 57 countries by now. So it's actually a worldwide education learning method, trusted and proven it's a proven method. So I am glad you're interested, and I do think we should invest in education, especially in the time of this pandemic. All the adults are worried about the economy, work, everything. But I think kids, if we could just go home and hug our kids to really care for them, I think that would be wonderful. But yes, please leave your message, your information, and maybe I can get back to you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Winnie. Our next question is for Ms. Dina Bennett. Where can you find out information on funding grants for female-led businesses in Europe, in particular in UK? Oh, and this is anonymous.
A great question, and becoming increasingly harder in the UK because of Brexit now. We got a lot of our funding from Europe. So it depends where you are and what sector you're in. There are lots of different regional organisations that do have funds and grants available. There's organisations such as Scottish Enterprise. You could contact some of the Welsh government agencies. but also the local enterprise partnerships, which are responsible for defraying funds. But to be honest, if you Google, it depends what you're looking for, what sector you're in. Is it a research and development grant? Is it a grant for growth? Is it something in a specific sector? There are very, very sector-specific grants and funding available, but there is some money available. So do have a look. You could go on to www.smallbusiness.co.uk, and they have a host of different areas of information. And also the Women's Organisation. They're an amazing support organisation based in Liverpool that do a lot of great work, and they can also signpost you to funding. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Miss Bennett. Okay, we actually have more questions, but this one is for Audra Hodge. Before I ask the question, I want to read this comment for you, Audra. Miss Audra Hodge, your energy makes one feels like jumping off the seat. Do you have a website?
I do, absolutely. Be happy to share that after the event. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Okay, your question is, Miss Audra, I am very inspired by your sharing and having positive energy and letting go of guilt and fear. Sometimes the environment and people become so negative and it's just so difficult to become positive. How would you suggest to boost energy levels? Anonymous.
So great question, by the way. The way to truly boost your energy level is, first of all, create your own energy. You need to go ahead and really resonate and find that power base within you. The best way to fight against everything that's happening outside in the world is through authenticity. It's through truly understanding who you are, your mission, your value, and your purpose. Nothing out there can take that away. You know what? I would challenge you to be a little bit selfish in this very moment. And that is, don't give up your control. Hold it so tight and so firm in everything you breathe, you see, you feel, the words that come out of your mouth. More importantly, what goes into your mind, what you're looking at, what you're hearing. Do not give that power away. It is yours and you are divine.
Thank you, Audra. Okay, this next question is for any of you. You feel free to answer. There are ups and downs in building a project or business. I would like to ask the panelists, how do they push through the worst times and achieve success? This is from Flori Ledwaba, WFWP, South Africa. Okay, Audra.
I can take a stab at that. So how do you push through it is to go back and focus on your why. Your why is constant. And what the rest of the world sees, when they look at your business, they see this straight line. Here's the different phases. Here's what she's doing. Here's how she's doing it. Guys, come on. The reality, it kind of goes like this. You know, there is absolutely no straight line out there, right? But in order to constantly be evolving, you have to be very clear on your end goal. And you have to have the courage to understand, make one next right step at a time, then the next right step, then the next right step to get to your end goal. It is not going to be perfect and it is not going to be easy. If it was, everybody would be an entrepreneur and a business owner. So you have got to be that constant strength and that base for everyone around you, but don't neglect yourself. One of the things that I love to do is I have something called my domestic days, as crazy as that sounds. And this is where I take that, come on, I know this can sound funny, that kind of male energy. You know, you got this female and you got this male energy and it's colliding like this and you're trying to rule the world. And I breathe and I'll go and I'll do gardening and house cleaning and cooking, and I recenter that feminine power and I come out as a tiger. Those are some of the ways I handle that.
Great. Thank you, Audra. We have
Mike,
a one. You have, okay, please go ahead, Ms.
no, just
Bennett.
building on what Andra says, we do a lot of work around sticking to your vision, which is exactly following on from that. But remember that you're not on your own. And I believe in the strength of social capital. Tell people what the issue is, share, because a problem shared is a problem halved, but you don't know who else in your network might be able to help you to achieve that vision or get over that hurdle.
Absolutely.
Thank you. One more question for Ms. Bennett. What do you think is the best way one can identify the potential business to start? This is from Patience Batetsi, WFWP, Uganda.
When you say potential, do you mean if the business will work or not? I always think market research is one of the most important things you can do before you start a business. Find out what potential customers are there. Find out who are your competitors. You really have to research something before you launch into it. I think it's quite critical. And you can, I'm not talking about spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on market research. You could do it through word of mouth. You could do a lot of online searches. But I think it's critical because I find a lot of people will spend a lot of time on marketing, developing a logo and all these fancy things. But if you haven't got a customer that's going to buy your product, you haven't got a viable business. So, and customers are only going to buy something that they need. So what are the needs that you are satisfying out there in the marketplace?
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Bennett, for that extensive, very informative answer. I'm not sure if maybe we have room for one more question. This one is for Ms. Winnie Chow. Ms. Chow, you are a very successful women entrepreneur. How could you take care of both your family of five children and business? From Lin Shu Hui.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I believe everyone's juggling a lot of balls. I am the only child, and I'm very lucky. My husband's very supportive. So we actually, yeah, I think with a lot of support from husband and also people around me. And my kids, I think from very young, we try to train them to be independent. As a working mom, they have to be independent. And so they see how I work, and I do believe we're all role models to our own kids. So I do share with them what I do. I also take them on business trips now that they're older. So to allow them to see what I do. Mom's not home on the weekends. What's mom doing? Mom's not in the coffee shop, having coffee and chit-chatting with friends. Mom's working, but what is mom working on? I do feel I love my job, and it's so valuable. It's so precious to me personally. So I want to just share that with my kids. And now that they see what I do, they really appreciate that. So my eldest child, my daughter, she's going to college soon, and she's going to do education. So it's just really heartwarming to see that our kids actually grew up and they actually appreciate what we do, and they're willing to also follow that path, but be themselves. So I don't know how I do it, but I think if we have that passion, we'll find a way. And with that passion, we're gonna just share with everyone around us. And yeah, everyone will help, and kids will grow up to appreciate what we do for them, and they will also try to reciprocate, to follow that suit. So I'm not sure how I do it, but I think it's that passion that I have for my job, and I love my kids, my family. So as an educator, I think family means a lot. Family education is very important. And if we want to build a better world, I think we should start with family. And we really build that. That's a really core, essential unit in our lives. And I think that security that we need to provide to ourselves, for ourselves, and for our kids to be able to continue to build on from that foundation. So yeah, thank you for that question.
Thank you, Winnie. Yes, it's passion. Well, actually, all of us could use that tip, how to balance work and home. That message is for all of us.
Thank you.
Okay. Um, our time is up, and I wish I could read all of your questions. But don't worry, all your questions, they're in the chat box, and we will send them to the speaker's email. And you are going to reply to them, right? Okay. So I would like to close the Q&A session. And don't worry, we will put together all those questions. And we want to put together time for the speakers to be able to answer your questions after the webinar. Thank you very much, distinguished panelists and participants. It's been such an enriching session. This concludes WFWP's webinar on women entrepreneurship. I have an announcement to make. We are inviting you all to another educational and inspiring session of our WFWP Leaders Assembly 2020. It is a webinar on peace and reconciliation in conflict zones. It will be tomorrow at 6 p.m. Korea time. I hope to see you there. We look forward to getting to know all of you and to working with you and create a lasting peace in the world. I invite you to visit our WFWP homepage to know more about our organization. Thank you very much. This is Merly Barlan. It's been my utmost pleasure to be of service to everyone and to this webinar. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.